Hi, Tara.
Hi, Lucy.
Ever since I was very young, I was born with this very tight, egoic kind of like drivenness to be special or extraordinary in some way. And unless I was moving towards something that felt big or compelling or ambitious, I felt like I was either falling behind in life or like a fear of stagnation. And, especially now that we're in the pandemic, there's just so much more free time. So during those idle moments, I feel like, oh no, like I ought to be doing something. I ought to be making a difference or making a change or working on some big project. And sometimes it can be quite debilitating. Like I'll just wake up in the morning and have this strong fear and just feel paralyzed, because then it's like, what do I do? And I think it's exacerbated by us living in this hyper-connected world where we're seeing people achieving so many things, and we constantly have this like pressure on ourselves to be making some big difference, and that every moment of our lives ought to like count in some way, you know.
Yeah, oh, you're saying it perfectly. So, if we did a hand raise right now of how many people feel like you should be more, you should be doing more, it's so deeply embedded in our psyche that to be enough, we have to keep on getting better in something. I mean, that's so deep. And of course, what it means is that we're racing to the finish line, trying to get better and better. And what the finish line is death. And it's like we never got to, it's like skimming over the surface of the water. We never got to just, drop in and enjoy floating a little in life. So I love the inquiry. And I have a question for you. And it's a hard question, but it's an important one, which is, and this is for all of us really, if you could progress, if you could get to the point that you could say, okay, this is really enough. I mean, like, this feels enough. Like, what would you be like? What would have had to have happened?
I feel like any external thing that we're chasing obviously is a shifting goalpost, right? Like once you get there, then there's always something else that's going to make you feel enough. So the answer obviously can't come from, acting on or doing or chasing some external thing. But if I were to describe that feeling of enough, it's feeling like you're in the right moment and there's nowhere else to be, nothing else to do. It is already perfect, and that there is not some parallel timeline where if you only did 10 extra push-ups a day, like your body would be more fit, or something like that. It's really that every moment and every decision and every action that you've taken over the course of your life has already led you to this moment, and it is perfect in itself, if that makes sense.
It totally makes sense. And do you sometimes feel that? You have moments where you touch that freedom?
Yeah, I do. And I think it's whenever I'm not in the grips of this egoic drama that's like, um, you know, bringing up all this anxiety. Sometimes when I'm just out of it, if I'm just taking a long walk and I forget about all the things um, that are creating this anxiety, I fall into a space where, I realize like there's nowhere else to be, right? Like other than now and here. So
Okay, so there's in a way like a Cohen. Your Cohen is to take that deeply grooved, I have to really accomplish, get better, keep doing, and and make it even bigger. That what you really need to accomplish and get better at is coming right here and finding that you can pause. It's your capacity to pause and rest in a space that's here. And so if you let that be the center of your personal, professional, and spiritual life, that this capacity, that more important than anything you could be, any outside pursuit, is the capacity to rest in the enoughness of right here. Let that be a goal, because you're actually, your ambitiousness can be used in service of spirituality. And it won't work if it's grim. I mean, you have to kind of hold it with humor, because clearly, ultimately, you can't strive towards the present moment. You can only relax back.
Mm-hmm.
So in that way, it's a paradox, and you have to hold, but let that be your deepest ambition. Mm. And because we're almost out of time, I'm going to tell you the challenge, which is that there's a fear that if I relax back too much and I pause and I rest in enoughness, then I'll never get anything done and I'll never contribute. And we've got a world that is so filled with trauma and pain. And clearly you have a huge amount to bring to this world, and you already are, I'm sure. That's the fear, that you won't manifest yourself fully. And what I can promise you is that the manifesting that makes a difference will come out of that presence. And the presence is inherently dynamically creative and full of energy and life. And if I look at my life, I can say that nothing that has really mattered has come out of any of the external striving. It always comes out of when I've reconnected to my heart and my awareness. Mm-hmm. And then there are doings, but they're coming from that. They're coming spontaneously out of that, not out of the drivenness. Mm. Is this resonating for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Because that drivenness, it's kind of like a egoic, fear-driven type of thing, where whenever I've acted from that place, I'm not even happy with what I'm doing, because it doesn't feel authentic or genuine. It just feels fear-driven, versus if I'm working on something out of a spontaneous, like, loving for the work and feeling that this is making a difference.
Exactly. So when you get caught in the fear-drivenness, there's going to be a pathway back. It's like your antennas will go up and go, okay, I'm caught in that, fixating on external goals to try to be somebody. Mm-hmm. And take some moments, bring some really kind attention right here, and see, right to where the fear is, and breathe with the fear, and call on your wisest self to remind you that the freedom comes from relaxing back, not leaning forward and grasping. That you can keep on doing whatever you wanted to do. You can go ahead and, write the Nobel Prize winning whatever, but first relax, first do this, be with the fear, and from your wisest self, remind yourself, relax back. Everything comes from presence.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Blessings, dear.